working on like different types of clouds. At that time, the AWS was not that much into the like a production in my organization. Before that, every server and services are in different like distributed across different cloud providers. And then we started like we have taken like 1 year period and we migrated all the cloud servers into a single cloud, and we are completely using AWS. But there are few things which we are using for the different cloud services like Azure also, especially for some kind of centralized user maintenance and everything. I think I might like you might heard about like Active Directory. Anybody knows what is that Active Directory? That is like actually a Microsoft product, Microsoft feature. Every organization will use that Active Directory. Like if they have like 1,000 employees, they have to create the user accounts for everyone, right? And at the same time, those users have to use the same credentials to log in across a different computers. So they cannot create the user accounts in each and every computer, right? So they will maintain a kind of a centralized database using Active Directory. So even though you are going to work on a single cloud, sometimes you have to work on different cloud services or cloud providers, at least like 1 or 2 services also. But once you are aware of any of the cloud, I'm not talking about AWS. If you are aware of any of the cloud computing, the technology will be the same. Might be the terminology will be different. If you are confident or if you are completely good in the technical of Amazon, you can manage Azure or Google Cloud also. Those two are also the cloud providers, same as Amazon Web Services. But the terminology might be different. Just I will give a simple example before going to start the demonstration session, so that you can understand that all the cloud providers will be operates in the same way. In the Amazon, like whenever you need one system, like a kind of a server, we will use a service called EC2, just a service name, where you can create one server with so and so CPU and so much of RAM, storage, and everything. And if you go to the Microsoft Azure, the same server can be created using a concept called virtual machines. But there also Microsoft will provide you the same type of a server with some number of CPUs and so much of RAM and storage. And in the backend technologies like the virtualization, every cloud provider will use their own. And we are not going to manage those physical hardware or virtualization. So once you are comfortable with any of the cloud technology, I can say that easily you can manage the other cloud providers also. Okay. And because it is a demonstration session today, I don't want to get into like complete in detail technical skills. Let us try to understand why should we learn cloud computing. So why, if you observe in the market, you can see there is a heavy demand for cloud technologies, right? I don't say like only AWS has a huge requirement, or I don't say like Google Cloud is having very less demand. But the cloud is a cloud. The advantage with the Amazon is, okay, so when that Amazon Web Services was introduced for the production, any guess? Actually, AWS was introduced in 2006 for the public usage. Like actually, they started in 2004 and they did some kind of a testing and they provided the services for very few companies or few organizations. And then in 2006, they officially launched. It seems almost like 15 years, right? So that is the main reason for Amazon is having a huge market in the cloud. So if you ask me like what is like if you ask me to give the rate like numbers from like top 1 to top 10 or so, then we can mark that AWS is the top 1 place. I'm not talking about the efficiency or performance or anything, because every cloud provider will provide the same kind of a high availability or same kind of a things. But in terms of the market capture, Amazon took the first place with almost like 45% of the market share. Let us say if all the cloud providers are generating, for example, 100 rupees of revenue, Amazon alone captured like 45 rupees of revenue. And then in the second place, Microsoft Azure is there with like 27 to 28% market share, and then followed by Google Cloud. And then there are a lot of cloud providers. Do you guys know any other cloud providers apart from this AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud? So we have a rack space that is also a type of a cloud, but that doesn't operate like Amazon or Google Cloud. That's a different type of a cloud. So have you heard about like GoDaddy? That is also a cloud provider. They provide you some limited services in the cloud. I think you guys aware, I'm sure you guys aware about the controllers. They have a data center in Hyderabad. They are also providing you some kind of servers, some services. Like that, we have a lot of cloud providers available. But whatever the things I mentioned, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google Cloud, they have a wide variety of services. Whatever is your requirement, you can get the solution from those cloud providers, like from the server to the microservices, storage to the databases, or load balancers, applications, running a code, functions, everything is available in these cloud providers. Okay, so first thing, why should we use cloud computing? Or what is the cloud computing means? What exactly the cloud computing means, or what they are going to offer you? Okay, so I told you like the Amazon was officially launched in 2006, right? Before that, if you need any server for your office, how to maintain a server? Or if you go for simple terms, you would like to host a website, a simple basic HTML website, which contains a single web page where you provide some information about yourself. That's a kind of a personal website. How can you make that website is accessible for everyone? To host a website, you need some kind of a web server. Web server is nothing but a kind of a software. On top of that, you can place your web pages. So the website will be available for everyone, right? And to install the software, what is the requirement? What you need to install the software? Okay, let us say I asked you to install some kind of a small software on your laptop. So when you can install that software? So if you have an operating system on your laptop, then only you can install, right? Without having an operating system, you cannot install any softwares or any applications. But again, to install the operating system, you need some kind of a storage, and you need some kind of a hardware like CPU, memory. What is that CPU? Okay, so I think you guys might heard about like i3 processor, i7, i5. These are the CPUs. That is called actually a processor, in which you have like, I think nowadays we have having like a 2-core, 4-core, and in that we are having like a multiple threads. That means single processor can contain multiple cores, right? And what is the use of an operating system? Why we need an operating system? Because everything will be executed. Like let us say if you open a calculator and if you type 1 plus 2, it will give you the answer like 3, right? Where that will be processed? Where that will be executed? Where that will be executed? The processor will execute all the instructions, right? But as a human being, we cannot communicate with the hardware directly. That's why we are using an operating system which will act as an interpreter between the user and the hardware, right? Okay, so now we need all these components to host a simple website, just a basic HTML website. What all the things we need? We need a web page first thing, and then we need a web server, which is a kind of a software. And then to install that particular software, we need an operating system, which can be either a Linux or a Windows. That depends on our requirement. And to install this operating system, we need some kind of a hardware, like a storage, like a hard disk, CPU, memory, we call it as a RAM. Okay, we have all these things. Then you can install the operating system, you can install the software, we can host the website. The website is successfully up and running. So what else we need? We need some kind of a networking, right? Okay, so before that, every day we are using some kind of a websites, google.com, yahoo.com and everything, right? Where is that google.com web page is located? Is that website is located in our local laptops? No, somewhere across the globe, they are maintaining the website in some servers. But how we are able to communicate with that servers? Or in other words, what is the requirement to access any website? To access any website, what we need? We need an internet, right? What is that internet means? combination of multiple networks. Like my house is one network, your house is another network, that Google's data center is another network. So this internet will combine all the networks together. So they will provide you some kind of an IP address. So we will have a detailed session on those technical things, like what is IP and what are the different types of IP address. Or to understand better, I will give a simple example. Let us say I would like to make a call to you. Then what I need? Mobile number, right? A phone number, mobile number or landline number. Okay, you have a mobile number and you provided me with your mobile number. But to make a call to you, I must have a number, right? Without having a phone and without having a number, I cannot make a call to you. So to establish a phone call between two people, they must have a device, like a phone device, and they must have a working mobile number or some number, right? In the same way, to access any server or to establish the communication in the network, they require some kind of an IP address. So here, to provide the accessibility to your website, we need some kind of an IP address. We need an IP address. And then to make that server up and running, we need some kind of a power supply. And to reduce the heat, we need some kind of air conditioning also. Now, I purchased this server for my office and I have placed this server in my office data center, like a server. Then we are responsible for all these components to be working, right? So if there is a problem in the power supply, then we have to provide some kind of an alternate power supply, like by maintaining some kind of a UPS. And if the power cut is over a period of like 3 hours or 4 hours, then we have to maintain some kind of power generators. And to maintain those things, we need to maintain a team. And then to maintain the server, we need some kind of hardware team. And to manage the softwares, operating systems, we need some kind of an application team. And they have to work 24/7 in 3 different shifts, right? Because the website should not go down. At any time, the website must be accessible. That is the thing. To make sure that your website is accessible all the time, you have to maintain or you have to invest a huge amount. Because purchasing a server is not like a kind of with a few thousands of rupees. We have to invest a lakhs of rupees. And all the time, if something goes wrong with the hard disk, then the server will goes down, right? So that's why to maintain your website as a highly available, you have to maintain some spare resources. If one server goes down, automatically the website has to be up and running from the other server. That is called as a high availability. So to maintain that high availability, always you have to maintain spare resources like a spare processor, spare storage, and some kind of improve the performance. We have to implement some kind of a load balancer kind of a techniques and everything. So if you are maintaining everything on your own on your office, then you have a lot of administrative tasks. You're responsible for maintaining the hardware, everything. Then this cloud providers came into the picture and they are going to provide you whatever you are looking for. And the advantage with this cloud providers is no need to invest a huge initial investment. We call that as total cost of ownership. Let us say if you are purchasing 10 servers, then you have to invest like millions of rupees, right? But here in the cloud computing, no need to pay a single rupee as an advance, so that you can use that amount for your business growth of your business and to implement some new techniques and everything. But how they are going to charge you? At the end of the month, based on your usage, they will charge you. Like in the given month, every day I have used a server for only for 1 hour for 30 days. So totally I have used 30 hours, right? So I have to pay only for the 30 hours because my work is very small one. Like mine is a startup company, some kind of a thing. I don't want to invest a huge amount only for like 2 to 3 months of a project, because that project might last only for 3 to 4 months. If I spend millions of rupees and if I procure the hardware, that will be burden on me, right? So then I can go to the cloud provider and I can create the server in the cloud and I can install whatever I need and I can use it. Based on my usage, I have to pay at the end of the month so that I can reduce the financial burden on the company. So that is the main goal. So what all the different services they provide you is from the starting from the physical servers to the microservices they will provide. They do have a lot of concepts in the cloud, and they are going to provide you all the different varieties of services. If you take the Amazon Web Services, they are providing you machine learning. They are providing you some kind of artificial intelligence, robotics, blockchain technology, almost like and 200 plus services are available on Amazon platform. That is the main reason that most of the companies are opting for the Amazon. But I'm not saying that nobody will use Microsoft Azure. They do have their own clients. If that organization is basically into the Windows applications or Windows products, then they will prefer Microsoft Azure. But for a regular or in a general way, most of the organizations will prefer to go for the Amazon Web Services because of their wide variety of services. So this is basically about a cloud computing, just in a brief. Okay. So in this cloud computing, what exactly we are going to learn? So let us go through the different concepts, what we are going to cover. And briefly, I will explain you what that service will gives you. Because once we start the sessions from tomorrow, we can discuss about each and every concept in detail. Because it's a demonstration session, just I will give you some overview what we are going to learn. And once we are done with the course, what we can achieve or what all we can implement on our own. Okay. So first thing is we will start with a basic introduction about the cloud computing. Without knowing about the cloud computing, if we start discussing about some services, we might not be able to understand, right? So first we will go with what exactly the cloud computing and what are the different types of clouds available and different types of cloud deployments. Have you ever heard about like public cloud, private cloud? So those are the different deployment methods. And different cloud types means infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and now we have a database as a service, storage as a service, function as a service also. In the name itself, it can indicate that in the infrastructure as a service, they will provide you some set of infrastructure to run your applications. Okay, right. So in the cloud computing introduction, we will discuss each and every point about what is a cloud computing, different types, different models, advantages, how to use that, everything we can discuss in that cloud computing introduction. Once we are done with that, then we will go with AWS introduction. Like what is Amazon Web Services and how they will operate. Because whenever you go for any cloud computing, the most important thing is high availability, high reliability. What is that high availability means? What is the meaning of a high availability? Let us say you hosted a website. That website must be available 24/7, 365 days. That is high availability. High reliability means if something went wrong, something got crashed due to fire accident or something in that data center, like a server room, then how quickly and how much data they can recover without losing your data. That is called as a high reliability. Both are important, right? If they provide high availability and if something happens, if they are unable to recover your data, there is no use of using the cloud providers. So Amazon, what is their infrastructure? How they will maintain their infrastructure to provide you the high availability and the high reliability. So that we will discuss in AWS Global Infrastructure. In this concept, we are going to discuss about a few terms like regions, availability zones, edge locations, because these are the concepts which Amazon will use to maintain the high availability and high reliability. Like they do have a data centers across the globe. That means they will maintain their hardware across the globe so that in one location, if something goes wrong, they will provide you the services from the different location in the same country. That we will discuss in that concepts called region, availability zone, and edge location. That edge location is to improve the performance of your websites or web content. I think nowadays every website is loaded successfully with high speed, right? But if you go back to the like 2010 or before that, whenever you open any website, and if you are using like 1 Gbps internet speed also, that website will take minimum like 10 to 15 seconds to load at least the home page. What might be the reason for that? Any guess? Any guess what might be the reason that the website might take a lot of time to load the web page? Okay, and one more thing. In the olden days, whenever you do some kind of STD calls while we are using the landline phones, with the old technology, whenever you do some kind of STD calls and IST calls, we do have some kind of a disturbance and crosstalks, right? So whenever the distance is too far, the quality will goes down. And these websites, let us take, if you take the example of the Yahoo website or Rediff, they are hosted in US. If any user try to access the website from the US, then that page will be loaded within 1 second. If we access the same website with the same internet speed from India, it will take like 10 seconds to load. Why? We can say we are far away from each other, right? The server is far away from us. But what is the actual thing behind that? Or whenever you open your browser and whenever you type yahoo.com in the browser, what will happen in the background? That yahoo.com, you are looking for a website, right? That will be sent as a request to the yahoo.com server. The yahoo.com website is in US. So your request has been traveled from your local laptop to the Yahoo server. Once the Yahoo server receives your request, it will send a response as a home page. So to receive that particular data, it will take huge time. That is the reason that it will take a lot of time to load the web page. But now every website across the globe, we can load with high speed, right? Because of this kind of edge location concept. In Amazon, we call this as an edge location. But in other things, they will use a different names. Like they will maintain the copy of the website across the globe. So do you guys know about a browser's cache? What is the use of a cache in your browser? So whatever you access, that will be maintained a copy in your browser's cache for some time, right? Like 1 hour or until you close the browser. So if you access the same website again in that particular time period, the website will be loaded from your browser's cache. That's why whenever the developers modify some designs, they will clear the cache and they will try to access the website. In the same way, this edge location will act as a caching point for the websites across the globe. That's a kind of a content delivery network. They will create a network across the globe to deliver your content. So in this particular global infrastructure, we will discuss about what is the infrastructure of the Amazon, just to provide the high availability, high reliability, and the high performance also. Once we are done with the basic introduction about the Amazon, then we can see the different career paths. Amazon is not a single kind of a career path, right? Like if you say, I would like to be a developer, then the next question will be what developer? Like a Java developer, .NET, PHP, right? We have a different streams. In the cloud also, we do have a different career paths. Like a solutions architect or a developer or a SysOps administrator or a DevOps engineer. And if you go for some kind of a specialty, we do have some kind of a big data, network security. We have a different career paths. So we will discuss about the different career paths and different certification methods and everything. And once we start our actual topics, we have to do the practice, right? Not only the Amazon, whatever the course you attend, for everything, the practicals are important. But if you're talking about some Java or .NET, you can install that environment on your local laptop and you can do the practice. But the cloud is somewhere across the globe, right? So you need one Amazon account. So AWS provides you a free tier account, which we can use that for free with some conditions. Free means you cannot create a server with 64 CPU and 500 GB of RAM. That is not free. There are some limitations that with limited number of resources, we can use almost all services. Almost all services we can use for free for the practicals. So we will see what is the free tier limits, what is the free tier account, and how to create the free tier account. All the things we can see in that particular concept. Once we are done with these basic things, then we will step into the actual services of Amazon Web Services. The first service itself, Identity Access Management. We call this as IAM. In this, what we are going to do is, we will discuss about users, groups, and their permissions. Okay, if you are working for a company, that doesn't mean that they do have only one employee, right? They do have a multiple employees. And what they do, they don't give a single username and password for every employee. They will create individual user accounts for each and every employee so that they can use their own credentials to log into any computer in the network, right? So whatever the Amazon account we created, the users has to log into the same Amazon account using their own credentials. So in this case, we will discuss about what is users and how to create user accounts for each and every employee in the same Amazon account. That doesn't mean that we are creating a separate Amazon account for every employee, which is not a good idea, right? We cannot manage those many things. In a single account, we can create multiple users so that they can everybody can use the same Amazon account for their use cases. And then we have a concept of a groups, and every user requires some set of permissions, right? If there are 10 employees, all the 10 employees doesn't require full permissions. One employee might require full permissions on all services. One employee might require read-only permissions. Few employees might require read and write permissions on very few services. Always the basic rule, not only on this AWS, anywhere, the basic rule is don't provide unnecessary permissions. Limit the user with required permissions only. Simple thing. Let us say you are coming for the AWS session. That means you are restricted to attend the AWS session only. Nobody will allow you to attend any other sessions, right? That is what limiting the access. Don't provide any unnecessary permissions to the users. That we can achieve using the policies concept. And we have one more thing called a roles concept. So by using this, we can maintain the security of your entire Amazon account. Beyond this, we have to secure our Amazon account. Generally, how to log into any accounts? By using email and password, right? Or username and password. Is that a secure way to log in? No. Because at some point of time, someone might guess your password. And if you observe, if you are doing any kind of banking transactions, whenever you do some kind of a money transfer, along with your username and password, you have to provide one-time password, right? Which is not a fixed code. That is a dynamically changing one. Whenever you are initiating a transaction, they will generate one 6-digit code. In the same way, we can enable multi-factor authentication. What is that multi-factor authentication is? Along with your username and password, the user has to provide a 6-digit code which will randomly generate for every 1 minute. That we will implement using the multi-factor authentication. So no user can log in with only username and password. They have to provide that code. Nobody can guess the code because it has some kind of an algorithm to generate that code. And then we talk about the username and password, right? If I use a password like 123456, is that a good password? No. And there is no guarantee that everyone will use some kind of a complex password. There is no guarantee, right? Because we cannot see the password. So that's why on our Amazon account, we can create a password policy. We can define something like the minimum password length should be 10 characters and it must contain one uppercase letter, lowercase, that we can define as per our organizational requirements. So that every user will be forced to configure the password by following the password policy. They cannot use a simple passwords. They cannot use a plain passwords. They have to use the complex passwords. And also the most important thing for us being a student and for practice purpose, bills. A small mistake will generate a huge bill, right? Like for example, there are some limits in the free tier account. So whenever we are doing the practice, without knowing that the service is chargeable, if we use that service after 5 days or after 10 days or after the end of the month, you might get a huge bill. So how can we get notified well in advance? So what we are going to do is we are going to create one billing alarm for like $3 or so. Billing alarm for $3 or so. So that whenever, or you can configure for $2 also or $1 also. So that whenever your total bill is going to exceed that particular amount, you will receive one email alert. Generally, what is the alarm? If you configure something and if it is happening, it will trigger some alert, like fire alarm, right? Whenever there is a fire with like so and so temperature, it will start generate some sound, right? Alarm sound. In the same way here, we can create a billing alarm so that whenever your bill is going more than a particular value, you will receive an email alert so that you can go ahead and you can stop that particular, what we call that, the services, and the charges will be stopped. So this is the basic things what we have to do once we create our Amazon account. Once we are done with this service, the next service what we are going to discuss is Elastic Compute Cloud, which is EC2. This is the service where we are going to create our servers. We are going to maintain all our servers with different types of instances like 1 CPU, 1 GB of RAM, or 4 CPU, 64 GB of RAM. Whatever is the requirement, we are going to create the EC2 instances as per the requirement. In this EC2 instance, we have a lot of concepts available. Like here, we have a different things like on-demand instances, and we have a reserved instances, and we have a spot instances, types of EC2 instances, like types of a servers. And then we have a different types of tenancy models, like shared tenancy, or we can say dedicated, or a dedicated host. Like the way how you create the instance, like a few people might use a shared room in the hostels, right? You can share with different people, or you can use a single room for yourself, or you can take the entire building for a rent, right? In the same way, how you would like to create your servers? Would you like to share the hardware with some other customers, or would you like to share a server with different people, or would you like to use the entire physical server only for your requirement? Those things we can discuss in this. And then we are going to discuss about different terminologies. Like while you are creating the EC2 instances, we are going to use a lot of terms like Amazon machine image, security groups, key pair, and placement groups, and IP address. What is IP? What is public IP, private IP, elastic IP? We have a lot of features available and lot of components available. We have to discuss about each and everything, and we will discuss about like AMI and how to create our own Amazon machine image and how to use the AMI which is provided by Amazon. All the things we will cover in this Elastic Compute Cloud. Once we are done with that, we are going to go with Elastic Block Store, which is a type of a storage which we can use with our servers. Whenever we have a server, it requires a storage, right? If you don't have a storage, where we can install the operating system. So this EBS is a type of a storage, which is a block-based storage. We will discuss what is a block-based, what is object-based, everything we will discuss. And Amazon is providing you the different types of Elastic block storage options, like a general purpose or a provisioned IOPS, cold HDD, and throughput optimized, or magnetic. These are the different types of EBS storage options available. So at what kind of a scenario we have to use what type of a storage? Because there are few storages designed for databases, few storages designed for some kind of data transfers, right? So in this, we will discuss about each and everything, like how to create the storage, how to set the size, Let us say you are running out of disk space. So how to increase the disk space on the existing storage, and how to convert your EBS volume from one type to another type. Those are the things we are going to discuss in that particular concept. Okay, once we are done with this elastic block store, in the same elastic block store, we have to deal with some kind of a snapshots. What is the meaning of a snapshot? It's a kind of a backup. Whenever you have a server, whenever we have a storage, you need to configure some kind of a backups, right? Automated backups, manual backups, and how to restore the data using the backups. Everything we will cover in this particular snapshots concept. And then we are going to discuss about another storage called simple storage service. This we cannot use as a storage for your servers. This is a kind of an object-based storage. That is like, we can compare this with your Google Drive, Dropbox. What is the purpose of the Google Drive? You can upload some data, you can keep it as a private, or you can share with somebody else, or you can share with anybody also, right? In the same way, that simple storage service is the storage service available on Amazon platform to store your objects like files, documents, images, videos, anything you can store and you can share. In this simple storage service, we have a lot of features available. This single service will take like almost like 1 week. We have some kind of version controlling, versioning, or lifecycle rules, or replication, different types of storage classes. Each and every storage class is designed for a specific use case. And using this simple storage service, you can host a static website also. You can host a static website also. Directly, you can upload your web page and you can enable the static website hosting. Your website will be up and running within just few clicks and few minutes. We have like an encryption concept, object lock, MFA delete. These are the different features available on the simple storage service, which is a kind of an object-based storage, which we can use to store your objects. That is the advantage of the simple storage service. Once we are done with this simple storage service, we have to discuss about elastic load balancer. Elastic load balancer. What is the use of load balancer? To distribute the load across multiple servers, and we can reduce the load on a single server. Let us say you are using a website, right? And at a time, you can expect like 1,000 users. 1,000 users. Then, if a single server cannot handle that, I can create 2 servers, and all the users should be distributed across both the servers, right? Otherwise, there is no use of maintaining multiple servers. So we can use this kind of an elastic load balancer. In this elastic load balancer, we have a different types of load balancers available. Application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer. And there is a one previous generation load balancer called classic load balancer. So we will see like how to create load balancers and what is the use cases of each and every type of a load balancer. Because you would like to distribute the load of your website. You cannot use the gateway load balancer. You have to use the application load balancer. Or you would like to distribute the load of your mail server. Then you cannot use the application load balancer. So for every use case, there is a different type of a load balancer that we can discuss in that particular elastic load balancers concept. Okay, let us say I have a simple requirement that we created one server. Okay, we created one server and it is running fine. Let us say there's an online store like Flipkart or Amazon.in. By any chance, and it can handle only 1,000 users at a time. At a time, it can handle only 1,000 users. One fine day, like during the weekend or during the festival season, at a time, if there are 2,000 users are trying to access the online store, what will happen? They cannot load the page, or the server might not be responsive, and the web pages might not be loaded properly. So there is no time that you can act quickly and just you can increase the resources, right? So to avoid such kind of a things, we have a concept called auto scaling. What is a scaling means? Automatically the resources will be increased according to the load, and whenever there is no load, automatically the resources will be reduced. Suddenly you got like 2000 users, so that a new servers will be created and they will be added to the load balancer to handle the new request and more number of users. After a few days, there is no users and only 100 people are accessing. At that time, I don't need those many servers, right? So because of this auto scaling, automatically the newly created servers will be deleted and it will cost you very less amount. So we can say that whenever there is a requirement of additional resources, automatically the additional servers or resources will be created, and whenever there is no requirement, automatically the newly added resources will be removed, so that we can plan the financials accordingly. Like for example, if you expect only 2000 users only during the Saturday and Sunday, if you create a huge server and if you are running for the all the 7 days, then there is no use of the Monday to Friday, right? Without using the resources, you have to pay the money. So whenever there is a requirement, automatically the resources will be allocated by using the auto scale. And then we have another concept called cloud front. So I told you like a simple example, right? To improve the website performance, they use some kind of edge location concept, right? By using this CloudFront service, we can improve the performance of your web applications. That we will see like how to configure it. We will use some kind of image. So, and we will access the website without enabling the CloudFront. And you can see that there will be no, there is no high speed internet access. Like the image will take like 10 to 15 seconds to load. And once we enable the CloudFront, within like 1 to 2 seconds, you can load the image. So you can improve the performance of your websites using the CloudFront. Once you are done with this, then we will go with some kind of introduction about network and networking. Because the topic what we are going to discuss in the next thing requires the basics of the network and networking. Because there we are going to create our own network, and the service name is virtual private cloud. For that, we have to know how the networks will be created and how the communication is possible and what are the different types of IP addresses available, public, private, how to identify the network, whether the machines belongs to the same network or different networks, right? All those things we will discuss in that network and networking, along with the IP address version 4. We have two different versions available, IP version 4 and IP version 6. But in Amazon, we are going to use IP version 4 and we don't use IP version 6. The IP version 6 is the new, I don't say new, that is available since like 2008 or so. But most of the people are still using the IP version 4. So we will discuss like what is IP addressing, how it looks like, everything we will cover in that particular basic network part. Then we will go with a very important concept called virtual private cloud. We call it as a VPC. I can say that this is the main heart of the entire cloud. Or let us say if you purchase 10 servers for your office, where you can place that? In a separate room, and we will call it a server room. Technically, we will call it as a data center, right? So this virtual private cloud is a kind of a virtual data center in the cloud, or we can call it as a virtual network. Whatever the servers you create, those servers will be maintained or available in this particular VPC. In this, we have a lot of concepts like what is a network, what is a subnet, what is the internet gateway, NAT gateway, NAT instance, route tables, routes, everything related to the network we are going to learn in that particular virtual private cloud. And I can say that that is the most important thing. If you don't know about this, there is no use of learning other services also. If you create load balancer, that load balancer will be available in the virtual private cloud. If you create a database, the database will be created on this virtual private cloud. If you create some kind of EBS storage, that exist in this VPC. Even the servers also exist on that particular VPC only. Almost all services require this VPC. Okay, so we will see like how to create multiple VPCs and how to, by default, they cannot communicate with each other. How to establish the communication by using a feature called VPC peering. All these things we will cover in that particular virtual private cloud. So once we are done with the virtual private cloud, then we will go with a small topic called Route 53. Because the VPC is the huge topic, so then we have to go for the small topic. Okay, Route 53 is a kind of a domain registrar and DNS manager. That's a technical. In simple terms, we can say that we can use that Route 53 to register a website name. If you would like to have one website name on your name, like xyz.com, abc.com, then you have to use that Route 53 to register a domain name. That is called as a registrar. Like GoDaddy provide the same service. Big Rock is there, Namecheap. These are the domain registrars which will provide you the domain registration facility. And also, let us say you created your domain name, abc.com. Whenever someone is trying to access abc.com, they have to be redirected to the website, right? The website will run using the IP address. So how it knows? So for that, they will use a DNS manager. DNS manager is a kind of phone book in your mobile. What is the use of a phone book in the mobile? Just you can save your friend's number with his name, so that no need to type the mobile number to make a call, right? Directly you can type the name and just you can click on the call button. Then the request will go to the phone book. In the phone book, it will search for that particular name and it will get the mobile number or any number registered or saved against that name, and the call will be connected to that particular number. In the same way, the DNS manager will work. Every day we are using google.com, right? But the google.com website is running with IP address. But we cannot remember the IP address like mobile numbers. Hardly you can remember 10, 20. But there are millions of websites available. So the name is easy to remember instead of the number. That's why the Route 53 offers two features like registrar and a kind of a DNS manager, where we can create the records of your information, like website is running on that IP address or mail server is running on so-and-so IP address. Everything you can register, you can create in the Route 53 service. Once we are done with this Route 53, we will go with relational database services. We call it as RDS. In the relational database services, Amazon will offer you 6 different types of a database engines. And here you are getting SQL databases. What is a SQL database? Or examples of SQL databases like MySQL, Oracle. These are the SQL databases, right? So Amazon provides you 6 different types of a database engines like MySQL, PostgreSQL, or we can say MariaDB, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server. And finally, Aurora. Aurora is actually Amazon's proprietary database, which is compatible with MySQL and PostgreSQL. So we will discuss about these databases, how to create a database, how to create a backup, how to restore. And there are some additional features like read replica, promoting a read replica to a standalone server, single AZ deployment and multi-AZ deployment. Like multi-AZ deployment means high availability, like active passive kind of a thing, primary secondary kind of a thing. Always the primary server will provide the services. If something goes wrong, like some kind of fire accident or hardware failure, then primary goes down, right? Automatically the secondary server becomes a primary and it will offer you the services, so that you can expect almost no downtime. Your server will not goes down. Okay, so that is called as a multi-AZ deployment, and we get all these are a different kind, and this is a different thing. In the Aurora, you will get more features. while you are restoring the database, we have a point in time recovery concept. And in the Aurora, we have an additional feature called backtrack. So what is a backtrack? What is a point in time recovery? How to use a manual snapshots or manual backups, automated backups. And here we are not going to discuss about the database administration. We are going to manage the database instance, securing the database server and maintaining the databases as a backup, so that in the event of failure or something goes wrong, we can easily recover all the data. Then who is going to take care of the data and everything, or database administration? There will be a separate team called database administrators. We are only going to focus on the instance administration. The database instance, the database server has to be available all the time, and it has to be secure, and it should be available, like highly available. That is our part. Once we are done with the relational database services, we have a NoSQL database available on Amazon platform, which is a DynamoDB. If you go for in general, there are some databases called MongoDB, Cassandra, right? These are the NoSQL databases. But on Amazon, there is only one NoSQL database available called DynamoDB. DynamoDB. This also we will see like how to create it, how to configure backups like automated, manual, and how to restore. All the things we will cover in this DynamoDB. And apart from these two, there is one more database service. Actually, that is a data warehousing tool, which is a Redshift. Redshift, which is a data warehousing tool. We will discuss about that Redshift, and we will see like how to create it and what is the use case. That is not required for us, but almost like we cover all the databases. So why to leave a single database, which is for data warehousing tool? Just we will discuss about that also. And then we have some services to improve the performance of the database called Elastic Cache. Elastic Cache is a service to improve the performance of your databases. They are a kind of in-memory databases. In that, we have two different things like a Redis and Memcached. We will see the differences between those two and how to use it, where to use, all the things we will cover in the Elastic Cache. And then we have, whenever you create any server or service, what is the most important thing? What is the most important thing? The monitoring is most important thing, right? Like how the servers are performing. Does it utilizing more CPU or more memory? That has to be monitored. But we cannot sit 24/7 in front of the computer and we cannot monitor, right? So for that, we have some kind of a monitoring tools. So there is a monitoring tool on Amazon platform called CloudWatch. By using this CloudWatch, you can monitor all your Amazon resources. Like what is the CPU utilization, what is the memory utilization, what is the storage, what is the network utilization. Everything you can monitor, and you can create some kind of alarms also. What is the alarm? Let us say I can create some kind of an alarm, and I would like to notify whenever the CPU utilization is going more than 70 or 80%. Then this CloudWatch continuously monitor your servers, and whenever the CPU is going more than 80%, it will trigger an email alert to you so that you will be notified over the email. So not only the resource monitoring, by using this CloudWatch, we can collect the log files. Let us say you are running some kind of an application on your server. That application will generate some log files, right? Like what is happening, is there any errors? Everything will be recorded in the log file. Those log files you can collect using the CloudWatch, and you can store those logs forever also. Because those log files are to be like has to be stored for like 1 year or 2 years or 5 years for auditing purpose. So we can use the CloudWatch to collect the logs, to monitor the logs, and to monitor your server resources also. And then the next service will be application services. Application services. Application services will be used by the developers, but we are responsible to create those application services. Like we have a simple notification service. We call it as SNS, which will trigger, which is a kind of a subscription based service. Like whenever you go to any online store, there will be an option called subscribe for promotional offers, right? If you enter your email and if you click on subscribe, from that moment onwards, you will start receiving the discounts and promotional offers. That will be implemented using this kind of a simple notification service. And then we have another application service called simple queue service, where all the instructions will be maintained in a queue and each and every instruction will be executed one after one, so that there will be no missing of any instructions. And then we have a simple email service, SES. Like if you see the Gmail, whenever you lost your password, what you do, you will click on forget password. Then they will send you a password reset link on your email. How that email will be sent? Definitely there will be no person who will sit on front of the server and they don't send the emails, right? That will be automated. But to send an email, they require some kind of an SMTP server. That SMTP server will be provided to you using this simple email service. How to create that SES account, how to generate the username, password, and what is the SMTP server, and what is the port name, port numbers, everything we can see in this simple email service. And then we have simple workflow. We call it as SWF, which is a kind of a task sequence. So what is the task sequence? There must be some work which has to be executed in a proper order. Like there are like 10 different steps. Once the step 1 has been done, then only the step 2 has to be executed, right? Let us say a simple thing. So generally in the morning we'll woke up, right? And then we will go for the bath and then we will go for work, right? Instead of that, can we do like first we will take the bath and then can we woke up? Which is not possible, right? Practically impossible. In the same way, whenever you go for these kind of online stores and everything, they do have some kind of sequence of tasks. Or I can say a simple thing everybody might know. Let us say you purchase a new laptop, right? Which doesn't come with an operating system. So you have some kind of requirements that you have to install some application in that, like Microsoft Office. So here there are 3 steps, right? One is purchasing a laptop, operating system installation, and then MS Office installation. So that has to be done in that way only. Without purchasing the laptop, you cannot install operating system. Without installing the operating system, you cannot install the software. So if someone tries to install the operating system without purchasing the laptop, what will happen? They have to check for where is the laptop. There is a time waste, right? In the same way, they use the simple workflow to make sure that all the tasks will be executed in a sequence. Once the step 1 has been done, then only the step 2 will be enabled. For that, they will use this simple workflow service. And finally, we have another service called Elastic Transcoder, which can use to convert your media files. Let us say you are watching a video on YouTube. If you are using a mobile phone, according to your mobile screen resolution, some video will be adjusted, right? If you are using like 4K TV, then you can see the 4K resolution video. What does that mean by? The video will be converted, like the video footage will be the same. And by using this service, they will convert that particular video from one format to other format. But now we have, everybody is using smartphones. But in the olden days, we have some kind of Nokia phones in which you can, multimedia phones, where you can see some videos and everything. But if you upload any video, I mean, if you copy any video to that Nokia or that mobiles, you cannot play the video, right? First, you have to convert that video from one format to other format, which can be supported by your mobile phone. Whenever you are trying to convert your media, it can be a video file or audio file, we can use this Elastic Transcoder service. So they will charge you some amount, like how many minutes of video you converted, or how much duration, and what is the quality, from which format you convert it to different format. Based on that, there will be some kind of a nominal charges. After this, we are going to discuss about a few services which are not required, but most commonly used services in the market, like not Lambda. We will go with Elastic Beanstalk, which is required for the developers. They will develop a code, right? To run the code, they need some kind of environment, or they need some kind of a servers. They need to set up some kind of environment on their laptops. Without worrying about the environments, directly you can upload your code so that the code we can run, like Tomcat code, like Java code, PHP, Python, whatever the code is. To run that code, you need some kind of a runtime environment. But here, by using this service, directly you can upload your code and your code will be running. That is a kind of a platform as a service. They will provide you a platform to run your code. And then the next service is a DevOps tool, which is a cloud formation. Actually, this is infrastructure as a code. That is infrastructure as a code. What they do is they will create some kind of a template. And in that, they will mention what they need. Like, I need one server, and I need in that location, and I need these many resources like CPU, RAM, these softwares, everything. And they will run the template. So automatically, the entire infrastructure will be created. Like automating the infrastructure creation using the cloud formation. This is a DevOps tool. This is a completely DevOps tool. So if you are planning for a DevOps, then that will be useful. So have you ever heard about like Terraform? Terraform, which is not a, like a AWS tool. That's a third-party tool. That's the most popular tool used by the DevOps team for this cloud formation. That's a kind of a tool. You can use the tool to communicate with AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure. That is an infrastructure as a code tool, third-party tool. Okay. So once we are done with this cloud formation, we have another tool called Lambda, which is a function as a service. What is the function? To do something, right? In the applications, they will design some function. Like if you would like to do some kind of 1 plus 2, that require a function which can execute some kind of an arithmetic operation. So once you write the function, you need some kind of a environment or a platform to run that particular function. So you are responsible for maintaining all the things. But here in the Lambda, no need to worry about anything. Just you need to create your function. So Amazon will take care of running that function. And according to your requirement, automatically it will increase the size to support the huge load also. That is what Lambda is. Lambda is also a developer and the DevOps tool. But we will see that Lambda, we will use that Lambda function. We will write some kind of, we will create a Lambda function to do some kind of automated actions. If something is happening, then please do this. That kind of instructions we can do using the Lambda service. Okay. So after that, we will go through some kind of what is a DevOps and what are the different types of DevOps tools available. Like what is a version controlling system, what is a code commit, code deploy, what is a CI/CD. Let us go through those things. So these are the required topics. I might miss one or two very small topics. Just anyways, we will share that particular course content, right? There you can get all the detailed list what we are going to learn. Because here, if you see that S3, I didn't provided all the sub features. All the sub features I didn't provided here. Just I mentioned as a S3, but it has almost like 11 to 12 sub features available, like storage classes, Glacier Deep Archive, and encryption. In encryption, we have in transit and data at rest encryption. In the data at rest encryption, there are 3 different mechanisms, like what is server-side encryption, what is client-side encryption, and S3 managed keys, KMS managed keys. So in every topic, we have a lot of subtopics available. We cannot write down here, right? But whatever the course curriculum we share, in that you will get almost all the topics listed there. Okay. So once we are done with all these things, in this particular classes, we will go with the theory and we will see the practicals also, like how to create, how to use it, everything we will see. But during all these services, we will deal with individual services. We don't combine multiple services together, and we don't do any practicals. So that's why once we are done with all these topics, we will go with some kind of a project where we will use multiple services together to deploy a kind of a production deployment. Like if you ask to deploy a web application in the production, starting from the infrastructure creation to server creations, database creations, load balancer, auto scaling, notifications, monitoring, all the services we will integrate together to maintain that application as highly available, highly secure, and highly reliable. That might take almost like 4 to 5 days, or we can say like 6 days, 1 week. Once we are done with the project, we will go with some kind of practice questions. Like if you are planning for a certification, how the questions will be. Definitely the questions are not a kind of a straightforward questions. You will be asked scenario based questions. They will give you some kind of a scenario, like this is the requirement and this is the requirement. What will be the best solution? Or what is the best way to fulfill this requirement? So how the questions will be, because each question will be like 4 to 5 lines. It looks like a small paragraph. So how to read and how to analyze the requirement, then how to pick the correct answers. And the same scenario based questions will be useful for interviews also. Okay. Then we will share some kind of resumes, so that will helps you to create your resume. Like directly, no need to copy the things. It will give you some kind of an idea, like what kind of points to mention, or you can copy some lines, or you can copy some points and everything. So that will help you to build your resumes. And once we are done with all these things, then we will go with some few sessions with question and answers. Like while you are doing the practicals, or you might have some queries on specific topics, right? So we will have some question and answers. And we will provide you some kind of a study material like a PDF documents. But always I recommend to take down the running notes, because the beauty in the running notes is you can write down the concepts in your own way, right? Which you can understand easily. So that will be useful for you to like kind of a quick notes or something. And whatever the study material I can provide you, that you can understand the technical. And then the class notes, whatever we do the practicals, right? What are the tasks we have done, everything we will share. For this, we will use a Google Drive or a Google Classroom, where we will upload the kind of a what we call that assignments kind of a thing. Whatever we have completed in the particular class, that you have to complete like a kind of a practical for you. Always it is recommended to complete the practicals on the same day or the next day. Because if you feel that once we are done with the classes, I would like to go for the practicals, then at that time you might forget the basic concepts. So at least take the time on the weekends and just complete the practicals, whatever we have completed during the weekdays. And the sessions will be from Monday to Saturday, and every day like a 1.5 hour maximum. Few topics requires 1 hour 15 minutes, but there are few topics which might require 1 hour 30 minutes, because we cannot stop any specific topic in between, right? We have to complete at least the feature. So that's why it varies from like 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes. Maximum it will take 60 classes. And we will create one kind of a Telegram group where you guys will be added, and whenever you are doing the practicals, and if you got any error or any question, you can post your query with the screenshot, like just simply taking the screenshot of the error, so that we can help you. So no need to wait for the next session also. Whenever you got any error while you're doing the practical, immediately you can update that in the Telegram group. That's for the regular information. Only for this class people, just will create one Telegram group that will be available during the sessions. Throughout that sessions, you can post your queries, and the group also will be available after the completion of the classes also for like few months, because you might have some questions after that also, right? So you guys can contact on the Telegram group if you have any queries or any questions. And the basic plan is, We don't go in a rush. All the sessions will be in a way that I will consider everybody as a beginner. Might be you guys might have some kind of a basic understanding about the cloud computing, but the sessions will go in a way that nobody knows anything about the cloud computing. In that perspective, we are going to conduct the sessions. That's why the sessions will take like almost like 60 classes. You can ask that most of the people might complete within 45 to 50 days, but that is not possible because if we go speed, which is not that much easy to follow the concepts, right? That's why it will take maximum 60 days. Every day, 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes, and Monday to Saturday. Occasionally, we will take off on Saturday, not regularly, occasionally. So you can fix like Monday to Saturday will be the classes. Okay. And every day we will go with the theory and the practical. So this is about the plan of the AWS sessions. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Any questions, technical things, or if you have any questions on like why AWS or what we are going to learn or what we can achieve once we are done with that particular AWS sessions. Okay, what are the pre-requirements? Do we need to have any prerequisites to start with this AWS AWS classes? Any prerequisites? Linux. There is no prerequisite because here we are not going to use any coding or anything. Just a basic understanding about like how to use the computers. Basic understanding about the computers. And do we need any softwares or any high-end tools to install on our laptops? No need. The cloud means we don't do anything, we don't maintain anything on your computers. Everything will be in the cloud. But to access those things, we will use very small tools. Let us say to log into the Linux machine, we will use it. We will install a tool called Putty. Just to log into the database, we will use some kind of a SQL client tool. That's it. Apart from that, we don't install any tools on your computer. Do we need like a kind of a high-end laptop or something? A basic computer with the internet and a browser. That's enough. A basic computer. No need to go for i5 also. If you have an i3, that's more than enough. If you have a dual core, that is also works. A basic computer which you can use to browse the internet, that is enough. Okay. And any other questions? What are the certifications that we can see? Actually, we have 4 levels of certifications. One is a foundational level certification, cloud practitioner, and then the associate level certification. In that, we have 3 different certificates. One is solutions architect associate, developer associate, and SysOps associate, SysOps administrator associate. And then the next level will be the professional level certificate. There you can see 2 certificates, 2 certifications. One is solutions architect professional, and the second one is a DevOps engineer professional. And then the next category will be specialty category, where you are going to focus on specific services like database or big data or machine learning also there, I guess, network security. These are the specialty level certifications. And our course will focus on which certification. So by completing this, you can go for the cloud practitioner. 100% it is applicable for the cloud practitioner and solutions architect associate. And for developer and SysOps administrator, almost the same topics will be applicable, but you need to go for few other developer tools also. But for the solutions architect and cloud practitioner, we are going to cover more than required for the solutions architect and cloud practitioner. But anyways, I don't recommend for the cloud practitioner certification unless you are a completely fresher. Like just you completed your what we call that, your graduation or something. Even in that case also, that is not that much required, because most of the people, whenever the companies ask for a certification, definitely they go for associate level only. Nobody will consider, because in the practitioner level or the foundational level, they only assess the basic skills of cloud computing. That's why always the associate level is recommended to go for the certification. Okay. Any other questions? And okay, one more thing. Do we need to have any coding skills? Do we need to learn any coding skills? No need. For our solutions architecting, we don't need any coding skills. Hardly we will use, we have to understand the script. That is only in one topic called policies. That is where we will use the policies to provide the permissions, but the policies will be generated automatically based on our selections. But just to read, to understand, just you need to have some understanding skills of scripting, JSON script. That will be in a simple plain English. You can see hello, so and so person, so and so service. Easy to understand, and we don't need any coding skills for this solutions architect. Okay, duration will be 60 days. Okay, so the next question, most of the time I will get a question like, is it mandatory that we need to be from a computer's background to get a job in the software side? Not only AWS. If you're planning for any software job, do we need to be from a computer's background in the graduation? No, not required. Like coming to myself, I'm not from like a computer's background in my graduation. I completed my graduation in electrical and electronics engineering. So your technical skills, or I mean, your graduation background is nowhere relevant. It is not considered if you have the technical skills. If you are good at the technical skills of that particular course or topic or whatever it is, whether you are going for a Java developer, you have to have some sound technical skills on the Java. If you have that, your background is not considered. Okay, so then, okay, do you guys have any questions? If you have any, just we can ask the questions. Yes. Yes, we will. You mean like the list of topics, right? Yes. We haven't created the, okay, you mean the general Telegram group, right? No, you guys will receive an email with the list of a PDF which contains the list of all the topics what we cover. You will receive the email. Okay. And I think they will share the first few sessions also. Like I think for the first 4 days or 5 days, they will share the recorded video also. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Obviously. Based on this completion of the course, you will get some kind of experience, uh, like the person who already had some kind of a 2 years of experience. Like you can manage that particular job role. Like you will get that much knowledge based on the topics what we covered, all the things. You will get some kind of experience with similar to the 2+ years of experience. Any other questions? I will share the documents for study materials or the official study guides. I will share. Job opportunities means you can check like wherever you see the cloud administrator or cloud architect, okay, or AWS admin. These are the different job roles. Like different companies will use a different names, but the work will be the same. Cloud administrator or cloud architect, AWS admin, all these comes to the same place. As a fresher, like Naresh IT will provide you the placements. They will give you the placement assistance, like campus placements. They do have some what we call that, some connections with the companies. they will bring some placements for the freshers. But as an experienced person, you don't need any help also. Directly you can get. No need of any assistance and everything. But being a fresher, this Naresh IT placement group will help you. And one more thing, someone said that Linux is mandatory. But Linux is not mandatory, but the basics of Linux is recommended. In the AWS, we don't use. But once you go for any company, and if they are using some Linux servers, if they ask you to check something, then you need to know like how to log in, you need to know like how to open a file, how to create a file, or how to install a software, right? So that's why basics of a Linux is mandatory. And I guess like Naresh IT is providing you the Linux administration at free of cost along with this AWS. I have seen like most of the people attend the AWS and they will skip the Linux. So at least you have to get some basic idea about like Linux operation. Because Windows, right? We are using, I think in the olden days we used the Windows 7. Once the Windows 10 came into the market, no need to learn that Windows 10, right? Directly we can use it because there is a graphical user interface. But in the Linux, you will get everything as a commands. Even to open a file, you have to issue a command. So that's why a basic skills of Linux is required. So it's a okay. So any other questions, guys? Okay, like and also whoever joined through online, if you guys have any questions, please use the chat box for today. Once we start the actual topics, you guys can unmute yourself at the end of the each session and you can ask the questions. Okay, and also like do we need to learn any Python or some kind of a shell scripting? For AWS, that is not required. But if you are able to learn, if you know that, that will be good. Because Python is also having the good scope in the market. Because by using the Python, you can design like a kind of end-to-end application by using the Python and the related frameworks and everything. But that doesn't require for AWS. Okay, any other questions? 5 years complete gap or 2017? So then just you have to like if it is like so have you done any other job or something or just completely marketing? Then that's not an issue. If you are like for the last 5 years, if you don't do anything, then that will be a little bit difficult. But if you are doing something, then you can explain like you are planning to switch from that domain to like IT or something. That is not a problem. But if you don't do anything and if you kept idle in the last 5 years, even that case also you can get a job, but that will be difficult. You have to convince the recruiter why you didn't do anything or something. Okay. Okay. On which technology? That's not an issue. At least you are doing something, right? There is a problem if you don't do anything from the last 5 years because they will get some kind of impression that in the last 5 years even you didn't try anything, right? That will be a problem. But if you are doing something, you can manage. That's not an issue. 1 second, man. Okay, and that Linux classes, right? That is going to be started from Monday at 4 p.m. That's also Linux offline plus online, right? Yeah, that is also like offline plus online. That is a combination of offline and online. That's at like 4 p.m. from Monday. Okay, and tomorrow we do have a session. Okay, so tomorrow we can start with the basic introduction to the cloud computing, different deployment models, and different types of cloud computing. Any other questions? Okay, if you guys are clear, you guys can leave and let us meet tomorrow at the same time, 7:30 p.m. Like we can start by 7:35 or 7:40, but make sure to attend like by sharp 7:40 p.m. Okay, And if you have any questions, you can wait and you can ask. And if you're clear, you guys can. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Uh, being a fresher, or you can, based on that, you can modify that project, and you can you can mention that's what you have done in your career. Because if you go for anywhere, that's the same thing you have to do, like creating the servers, creating the infrastructure, securing the infrastructure. In any company, you have to do the same. Same class, same room, and same time. Same class. Same.